Hey everyone, welcome back to the Living in Maryland channel where we discuss all things living here in the great state of Maryland. And today it is time for another Maryland real estate market update. And today we're going to discuss some of the most recent stats released from Maryland Association of Realtors and just giving you my thoughts on how the real estate market is. So we continue to kind of be in an interesting market. It's kind of a little tricky to figure out at times. And the reason why I say that is the stats continue to show that median home prices are on the rise, although a slight rise. So the most recent data, we had the median home sales price in the state of Maryland up a little over 2%. We also had overall sales units sold back down. This whole year we've been seeing that on the decline. So we saw that a lot in 2023, where we saw just less and less homes each month overall selling, which of course was creating that inventory crunch in 2023. So we have been seeing that again. We are still seeing low days on market. So the most recent stats showed we're a median days on market of 9 days. So again, homes, a lot of homes selling fast. So overall, the stats are still showing that we're in a seller's market, and then the months of inventory is about 2.3 months. So anything under 3 months of inventory, that is our absorption rate. That means that homes are selling at a pretty quick pace. And that under 3 months of inventory is going to be traditionally and historically a seller's market. Once you get 2-3 months to 5 months of inventory, that's really more of a neutral market. And then as you get beyond that, into a buyer's market. Now, that's what the stats say. Now, I can tell you, just kind of being in the field each day and kind of in my experience, demand has slowed. The market has settled down, and that's kind of the overall feeling. I think the what we're seeing here is just that we have so few homes selling compared to previous years, or where we've seen higher turnover and overall more transactions happening. We have such a lower amount occurring currently that it feels like certain homes are still selling really fast with multiple offers. So it can have that the market can feel that vibe of still having some of that heat. Although there's plenty of homes now that are starting to sit a while. They're having to look at price reductions if the seller is serious about selling. And then you're also just, seeing less of that buyer demand out there due to probably a lot of reasons, but I think just overall high cost of living, still seeing inflation in certain things like homeowners insurance, property taxes going up, various insurance costs going up. So that's kind of what I'm seeing. That's what I've been hearing from consumers and buyers, is just that they're not able to get the home that they want for a payment that's affordable for them. So we are starting to see the market slow down a little bit. And I will give an example just with a story here recently in the last couple of weeks. So we have not seen any contingencies, right? Home sale contingencies in a long time. So had a buyer writing an offer on a property. So they ended up saying, okay, we need a home of choice clause. So we need the buyer to agree to give us a week to go secure a contract on our next home. So that was one part of the clause. And then they actually got communicated to me that they actually got on the home that they purchased, on their purchase contract, they were able to secure a home sale contingency clause. So we have not seen that in a long time. So the fact that I'm even hearing of and seeing personally a home sale contingency put in there does really speak to the fact that things are starting to slowly change. Now, not every deal, most deals don't have contingency clauses because the market's still not fully there. But the fact that we're even seeing that and hearing about that, even in just a few deals here and there, does speak to the fact that the market is starting to neutralize. It's starting to just settle down, more and more as we move forward here into 2025. The other thing that's interesting about the most recent data here is that can be a little conflicting or just a little misleading here, is that we're seeing overall at the state level, we're seeing median home sale price increase by a little over 2%. But when you break it down to some of the central Maryland county areas, so you got Howard County, Anne Arundel County, Baltimore County, just to name a few, to give an example here, you've got Howard County year over year. So from this time right now to compared to this time last year, you've got median home sales price in Howard County down 7%. Median home sale price in Baltimore County down 1%. Median home sale price in Anne Arundel County down 3%. So the reason why we're seeing median home sale price overall at a state level in Maryland is because you've got some of the more rural counties, for example, Garrett County out in Western Maryland, right in between, snugged in there in between Virginia and West Virginia, a good 2 hours from Baltimore. You've got the median home sale price over there in that county up 19 to 20%. So you've got some of those more rural counties seeing that spike. But looking at the central Maryland counties, we have seen in the most recent data a drop on median sale prices there. So, but at the same time in those same counties, you've got a average. I was just looking. You've got an average of inventory under 2%, like 1.3%, 1.5%, and 1.6% in those three counties, which means the numbers say it's still a pretty significant seller's market, but we saw the drop off in a slight decline there in median sales price. So it's just a tricky market. It's super hyper local. So if you are looking to buy or sell, I think it's always important. The best advice I can give is just to really have a good conversation and a good game plan on the specific zip code and the specific property type that you're after, because the market can feel super hot and competitive in a certain price range in a certain zip code, but it can also be it can feel very cooled off in certain zip codes and certain price points. So it's a confusing, kind of tricky market right now as it's kind of going through some changes and figuring out what's going to happen here, and we continue to see elevated interest rates. So we got a national average 30-year fixed mortgage rate right now sitting right at around 6.875. That's a Fannie Freddie conventional loan. You've got your government loans, of course, a little closer to 6.5, which is your VA and your FHA, as far as a national average. So just a lot going on right now. A lot of things that the consumer has to consider, of course, when they're looking at overall money needed to buy a home and what those monthly payments are looking like. So we're seeing a lot of things impact demand and impact the market right now. But that's some of the things to keep in mind, especially when we kind of step a little back from the state numbers and dive into a little more of the local. I think that's something to keep in mind if you are a buyer or a seller jumping into the market today. And as always, I am a licensed realtor here in the great state of Maryland. If you ever have any real estate questions on what it looks like for you personally to jump into the real estate market as a buyer or a seller, please feel free to reach out if you have any questions or would like to have a conversation. We would love to help out and talk about how we can best assist you moving forward with your real estate goals. And then lastly, I'd like to end, just with speaking to one other thing. Is there's various things that I track just on a personal level with the real estate market. And it was interesting. In the last numbers that I tracked here a couple weeks ago, is we have in central Maryland counties. So you've got Baltimore County, you've got Howard County, Carroll County, Frederick County, Montgomery County, Prince George County, and Anne Arundel County. So those are counties that I focus on just because you've got, between DC and Baltimore, those are the counties where people are realistically living most times, because they got to keep their commute within reason and all those things. So those are a lot of times the counties where people are moving here, or whatever, they are looking to be in those counties just due to proximity to their work and whatnot. So we in the most recent numbers that I've looked at, we have the most active homes on the market currently than we have in the last 12 months. So if these trends continue, in my opinion, we are going to start seeing the market continue to move towards, a neutral market. So we're going to start to continue to see that happen. So it'll be interesting to see. Of course, anything can happen. The Fed's talking about, a couple rate cuts towards the end of this year. So, we'll see, if that impacts things. There's so many things that can happen, but currently on this trajectory, if we continue to see what's happened in the last 6 months or so continue to progress. Of course, things happen very slowly in the real estate market. Nothing happens overnight. So if we start to continue to see the things that we've seen, it'll be interesting to see what happens. But it does look like if that continues, we'll continue to see terms and the overall market neutralize as far as what's going to be happening in regards to offers, terms and conditions within purchase contracts. We'll continue to see that happen. And of course, things can change tomorrow. So I will continue to keep you guys updated. Thank you so much for watching. If you ever have any real estate questions, please feel free to reach out anytime, and we'll see you at the next video.